started practicing real estate in 1979. You guys get sitting in here, need any help, man? I love realtors. We're gonna get the campaign stuff in a minute. My son bought a house not long ago, and it was a tough deal. The house had a lot of problems, roof leaks, water here and there, water damage, and all that sort of thing. And he was worried. First time he'd ever been a home buyer, and he said, "Dad, do you think we're gonna get this deal done?" And I said, "If we'll get out of the way and let these realtors do their job, there's a deal in here somewhere, and they'll find it." David Hawkins is here, and I don't know if he doesn't want the limelight, but he did a great job. My son is so happy in that house. It's just what he needed. It's just what he wanted, and the realtors did a great job. That's how things work in Little Rock. If we work together, if we trust each other, if we get to know one another and cooperate with one another, next thing you know, somebody buys a house, life is good, okay? And I got a background doing that all my life. It's not what I'm gonna tell you I can do, what I might do if I get elected. That's good and well, but I've been there, I've done it. I've run big companies. I've run companies with big budgets. I've run a school district that was a tangled up mess when I got there, and Lord knows there's still a lot of room to improve, but it was the greatest job I ever had in my life. Worked as hard as I could, loved the people I worked with. People said they couldn't do anything. With Stuart Mackey's help and Hathaway's help, who's around here somewhere, we found some land out west. We bought property. I typed the contract myself, and in a matter of no time, despite a lawsuit that held us up for 6 months, we built Pinnacle. We built another school. And the Hathaways did us a huge favor. Let's be honest here, Stuart. Thank you. Thanks everybody. That's how things get done. That's what I want to do. And it's not that I haven't done it. I've done it. Been there and enjoyed it. So I want to go to work for you. Okay? I don't want to do anything else. I want to be the mayor. I want to go to the state house. I want to go to DC. I want to be your mayor. And I know this town. I know the people in this town. Am I done? Okay, sorry. You got to speak up, man. Thank you. I apologize. Pardon me.
My name is Warwick Sabin. I'm state representative here in District 33, and I'm really glad to be with all of you here this afternoon. I know a lot of you. I've worked with you in my private sector work, in my community service, and now 6 years in the state legislature in the House of Representatives, specifically working with the Realtors Association and trying to help move that industry forward. But I'm running for mayor because I have a vision for the city that includes really trying to maximize our potential, make sure that we all know that Little Rock can achieve the potential that we all know it's capable of. But I've been out on the campaign trail for over a year now. I started an exploratory committee back in July of 2017. And when I'm around the city, I'm really hearing about 4 major challenges that we're facing, and I know you feel them very closely in your industry. The first, of course, is crime and public safety. I mean, this is an issue that obviously is impacting our ability to attract people to the city, to keep people in our city, and of course to maintain a quality of life that we think is adequate. So I want to make sure that we address that. But not a close number 2 is our public schools. The quality of our public schools right now seems to be determined by where you live in the city, and I think that's really unacceptable. We need to make sure that we are guaranteeing a quality public education for every student in Little Rock, no matter where they live. And again, that's an issue that impacts you so closely because, again, we can't attract people to the city or keep people in our city if people think that the quality of our public schools is in question. The third big issue is jobs and economic development. And I know we are thinking about this every day, but I want to take an approach that really holds up small business and entrepreneurship. I think that's what sustained our city over the last several decades. It's what's going to allow us to grow in the 21st century and make sure that we have economic development happening in all parts of the city, which I think is so important for both residential and commercial real estate. And the fourth big issue I hear about everywhere is infrastructure. There's not a lot of equity in our city when it comes to the quality of our infrastructure, and we need to make sure that we're guaranteeing that for all citizens to improve our quality of life and attract people there. When we address those challenges, we can take advantage of the opportunity to be one of the best cities in the United States. And I look forward to working with you very closely to remove impediments, to build an economy, and to build your industry over the next several years. Thank you.
And my name is Glen Schwarz, and I'm 64 years old. I've been a teacher and a recycle manager. But for the last 20 years, I've done like 3 part-time jobs. I've been a writer and a journalist working with the Free Press. I've been a professional practitioner as another part-time job. And the third part-time job is I'm a citizen activist. I guess this run for mayor is a part of that. That doesn't pay any money to some part of it. That's my third part-time job. I'll be running a campaign not of money or of influence, but of simply of ideas. 3 ideas I think need to be brought up in the campaign for mayor is first, we need to legalize or decriminalize marijuana in Little Rock. If the do-nothing legislature will not do something about these bad laws, the city of Little Rock will. Second, we need recycling for all of the people of Little Rock. Right now, we just have it for the houses. If you're in a house, you pay a $5 tax, you get to recycle. If you live in an apartment or a condominium or loft, nada. And the third thing is, I want to prepare Little Rock for dramatic growth. This is right up your alley, realtors, because, you know, we've only grown, 20,000 in the last 30 years. What happens in the next 30 years if we grow to a major metropolis? Because I'm one of those people who believes in global warming, and if those sea levels rise, there will be millions of people looking to move to Little Rock and Memphis, and Nashville, Huntsville, cities that are away from the coast. So with these ideas, I'm Glen Schwarz, candidate for mayor.
Schwarz, a brief word before we go to Mr. Scott. Each of the candidates on stage has filed with the city to run for office, which closes tomorrow, and Mr. Schwarz has informed us that he'll be filing either today or tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Scott?
Good afternoon. My name is Frank Scott Jr. Born, raised, and still reside in Southwest Little Rock. I'm a product of Little Rock Public Schools. I'm a minister. I'm a banker, a former state highway commissioner. The reason why I'm running for mayor of my hometown is because I understand that our city is at a crossroads. And it's time to unify our city, moving us from being disconnected to connected. It's time to secure our neighborhoods. It's time to help create a world-class educational system in our city right now. But not only that, we have to create more opportunities for our youth so we engage them so they reach their full potential in our city and they love our city to grow right here in our city. And so that's the reason why I'm running for mayor. Many of you I may have already worked with in my time as a banker or even on the highway commission. And I understand that how we move towards our true potential in this city is by focusing on jobs growth. Our city in 2006 had 96,703 jobs. In 2018, 96,003 jobs. We've had nothing but stagnant growth. We have to applaud what's going on in Northwest Arkansas, but now promote more regionalism in Central Arkansas so we can grow right here as well. Because we're not competing against our other neighbors in Arkansas, we're competing against the nation and internationally. And what you'll find in Frank Scott Jr. is someone who's going to unify our city, make certain that we have a diverse marketplace, increase our educational achievement, and by doing all of that, we will be the city we all want to love. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Little Rock Realtors Association. First, I'd like to thank Amanda for the generous invitation. My name is Vincent Toliver, and I'm running for mayor of Little Rock for one reason and one reason only, and that is to put people first. You guys as realtors understand people being put first is a relationship business. I was born 2 hours south of here in a little town called Lake Village to a mother who was 15 years old. 4 days later, she turned 16. She told me 2 things. I'm your mother, not your friend. Second thing, she told me, treat people the way you want to be treated. So I know it is a people business when it comes to politics, even though a lot of politicians have gotten away from people first. I intend to turn it around as mayor of the city of Little Rock. The city of Little Rock City Hall operates as a private club, granting access to a few. I intend to reclaim City Hall as the people's house because it should be about everyone in the city of Little Rock, whether you live in Ward 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7. I am very interested in neighborhood revitalization from a basis of empowering our city directors and also our neighborhood associations. There's a very good reason that we don't have equal services distributed throughout the city of Little Rock. And that is because the mayor and the city manager haven't paid enough attention towards 1, 2, and maybe 3. So I think, you know, there's a lot of activity that's going on north of 630. I want to make sure we have those services south of 632. I'm a proud resident of Ward 1. I take a bike. You may notice that I have on flip-flops. Well, there's a reason for that because I biked here to this meeting today. I'm very much into public education. I'm very much into helping the transportation and easing the transportation woes of the city of Little Rock. I'm a supporter of what's called scooters by this company called Bird. What that means is there's, I don't know if you've been in Atlanta or DC or Southern California, but there are scooters everywhere. It's a millennial favorite, so we've been in conversations with the people at this company, Bird, to bring scooters to Little Rock. I'm very excited about it. Millennials are wild about it. It's an app-based idea, which means you take a dollar, you get on this scooter, and it's 15 cents per mile, so it makes sense. So elect Vincent Toliver, mayor of Little Rock, and I can promise you 2 things. 1, you'll elect a mayor that has your back. 2, when you wake up as a resident of the city of Little Rock, you will feel and know that the city is rooting for you. I thank you for the invitation. I'm delighted to share our platform with you as we get into the meeting. Thank you very much.
First question, we're going to start with Mr. Kurrus and work our way down. The Realtors Association polled its membership not too long ago, asking about their top priorities and concerns for our city. Overwhelmingly, we heard back that public safety is a top concern for our members. In fact, many of our members say that crime and public safety is a reason frequently cited by home buyers who wind up leaving Little Rock to live in surrounding communities. Do you perceive crime as one of our major issues facing the city, and if so, what's your plan to address it?
Well, there's no question about that. Who's working the mic? Can y'all hear me now?
No.
Okay, there we go, thank you. There's no question, when we hit these hot lists that show us as being one of the most dangerous cities in the country, we can't stand that anymore. And I know how to manage things like that, with clear goals and objectives, allocation of resources, benchmarking, all the things I've done in the last 40 years in my career. But I'll tell you something else, a couple things you won't hear maybe from other people. 57% of the people who are convicted of a crime from our area end up convicting another crime. Real chance there to make a difference. And the big difference is being made with recidivism. In other words, why do people continue to do what they did before, and can't we stop that? Every time they recommit, it's $100,000 for a 4-year sentence. In the last couple of days, literally in the last 2 days, I've met with people who both are very interesting people. Ken Roxburgh, who runs Hope Rises, got a great program to keep people out of prison the second time. That's critical. I also met with Paul Chapman, who's a social entrepreneur and doing incredible things. Amanda, where are you? Incredible things that are going to make a difference because it's data-driven, data-based, and results-oriented. That's the kind of guy I am. I'll tell you some other things I've done that make a difference. You got to attack that crime at the source. When I was a school district superintendent, I got there on May the 3rd, and by June 1st, we'd added 300 kindergarten seats. Does that mean I got 5 seconds or I'm done?
5, 10 seconds.
Oh, okay. I work, and we'll get results, and we'll find out how to fix this, and we'll work every day to do it.
Well, I mentioned in my opening remarks that crime and public safety is the #1 issue here in Little Rock. And when I started my exploratory committee in July of 2017, we had 80 vacant positions in the Little Rock Police Department. And so I've been talking about the issue of making sure that our law enforcement officials have the resources and the manpower they need to cover the city. Because I hear from the police that they don't have those resources. I hear from residents who call 911 and the police are slow to respond or sometimes don't respond at all. This is an issue that needs to be confronted with urgency. And as mayor, I want to make sure that not only do we fix the problem in its current form, but that we're thinking ahead and we're analyzing with data. What does our police strength need to be to cover a city the size of Little Rock and to ensure public safety so we can nip this in the bud? But there are other things we can do. We need to get back to community policing. The city of Little Rock had a really successful community policing program where you had COPP officers in every neighborhood. They knew the residents, the relationships were good. We had one in my neighborhood in Capitol Beach right over here. And that allowed them to respond more quickly to prevent crime. And for some reason, the city cut back on that a few years ago. We need to reinstitute that. We also need a mayor that can bring our city departments together to confront and prevent crime before it starts. Code enforcement, youth services, community programs. These are things that we can coordinate and address issues as they're bubbling up in different neighborhoods. We're a small enough city that we can flood the zone in essence and make sure that we're working hard on that. I do think addressing the recidivism problem is critical for Central Arkansas and the legislature. I fought hard to make sure that we got more parole officers here, because our parole officers in Central Arkansas are among the highly most burdened parole officers in the United States. And most people who are released from prison end up here in Little Rock, so we need to confront that as well. Thank you.
Let's take a different tactic. Maybe the problem is that we're using up our jail space, our criminal justice system, on nonviolent crimes. In fact, I will pass, in the city of Little Rock, I'll pass a decriminalization or a legalization ordinance for marijuana. And then extend that to other nonviolent crimes that we're wasting jail space, deadbeat dads, and et cetera, et cetera. Let's use our jail space to incarcerate violent criminals for the kinds of sentences that they're getting handed out. Right now, they serve about a third of their sentences, and then they're right back out there, and that's just a slap on the hand. Use the criminal justice system and our jail spaces to actually incarcerate, take off the streets for real and violent criminals. That would be my solution to the crime problem that Little Rock does experience.
Yes, Little Rock has a crime problem factually. We also have a severe crime problem from a perception standpoint, because men and women don't feel safe. And if we don't feel safe, and the media shares that we don't feel safe, all that does is create a bad perception on our forward growth in our city. If we want to grow this city and want to make certain that we have and reach its full potential, we have to secure our neighborhoods. And how do we do that? In the Scott administration, I will commit to growing our police force from 593 police officers as is today to growing it to 700 police officers, so we can focus on community policing, so we can make certain that our cadets that are coming out of high school, that we can engage them to help with our homeless issues that we are having, as well as with the downtown partnership to have an ambassador program where we have our patrons, our tourists, and our citizens who are walking downtown who want to make certain that things are going well from an arts and entertainment perspective. Not only do we increase our police force, but we have to make certain that our police force reflects our community and understands our community. I'm in a suit right now, but when I go home to Southwest Little Rock sometimes, it's not always the same situation. And we have to understand that. How do we correct that? We make certain that our police force understands de-escalation tactics. We understand that our police force understands cultural competency. But not only that, but implicit bias. If we do those things, we'll have a community from our police force that also it protects and serves. And that will help our core movement from an economic development perspective. So we have to increase the police force. And in addition, we have to make certain that our police force understands that we promote them so they can have a career laddership moving forward. Thank you so much.
We got a request from the media to stay more in the light of their close.
Absolutely.